Hey everybody, how's it going? Matt here, back with a solo Vinyl Finds video. It's been a while. I put a little VC cheer brought to you by Gold Peaks Diet Tea. Oh, that's delicious. Alright, so, a little solo update. In our last video, which by the way, thank you guys for watching and commenting on that. I know Sam and I were really excited to show off our haul from Vintage Vinyl that we had kind of in August, and I had like in August and September. But I've got a ton of stuff to show from that haul still in future record run videos, which we're going to hopefully get to here pretty quickly. But I have some stuff that I found at Vintage Vinyl prior to that, like May, June, and July. Between those 3 months, they were kind of slowly trickling out some really cool stuff that I couldn't leave behind. And then the end of July, beginning of August is when they sort of flooded the store with everything. They just decided to put it all out at once instead of trickling it out like they normally do. So I did have a little bit of a pre-haul in May, June, and July. So we're just going to get into these. There may be some more solo videos coming from me in the next few weeks because I need to get through my stack that I bought at Vintage Vinyl. It seriously is kind of embarrassing how much I bought. But there's so much to get through that doing them in record run videos, 5 or 6 albums at a time, it's just going to take too long. So I may show some in solo videos and some in record run videos until I'm caught up there. Otherwise, this year I've got a couple eBay scores I'll show off in some solo videos as well. Maybe some record run videos if we get through those quickly enough. But if you do watch this channel regularly, you know we don't get to those quickly. I don't get to any videos quickly, so I don't want to make any promises that these are going to come at regular intervals or anything like that. But hopefully a few videos forthcoming still. And before we get too far into this as well, I'll keep the rambling short if I can, but I want to say thanks to everybody that subscribes. We just passed 1,000 subscribers, which blows my mind. Honestly, when I hit 100, I was like, well, that's the peak. It's never going to go past that. But thank you so much, guys. I really do appreciate it. I know it's kind of an arbitrary milestone. It doesn't really mean anything, but it's just cool knowing that there are some of you out there that watch and like my videos, and the feeling is mutual for a lot of you as well. So anyway, here we go. We'll get into this little stack here. Again, May, June, and July finds from Vintage Vinyl in St. Louis. The first little grouping I'm going to show were upgrade copies for me, and up first is Dust, self-titled. This was $7. I had a pretty decent copy before. I sent that one along to Vance up at the VK Lounge. He was in need of a copy, and I was happy to send my old one along his way. But this one was just really clean on that pink Kama Sutra label. Really good hard rock trio. Not much more to be said about this. This is just kind of a cool one. The track from a dry camel, about 10 minutes long. That's the one to go for. Mothers of Invention, absolutely free. I'm still trying to come around on the Mothers and Zappa in general. I'm not a huge fan, but the first 3 or 4 albums are pretty good. Again, like I said, I'm not like the biggest fan of them, but when you come across a really nice clean copy for $10 at a record store, you gotta take it. I had a dollar bin copy that I found a few years ago that was just destroyed. That was the only copy I had, so for $10 to get an upgrade is a really good deal on that. This was one I was really surprised to see priced at $10. I thought they would have had this at 15 or 20. This is like a mint copy of the Strawberry Alarm Clock, Incense and Peppermints. My original copy was $1. I still have it on the shelf. That may not be true, actually. I may have gotten rid of it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Mine was a stereo copy though, and you'll see here, mono. This is a very clean mono copy of Incense and Peppermints on that gorgeous uni label. Really happy to have this copy. My dollar bin copy was nice as well. It was solid VG, borderline VG plus, but this is like near mint all around. Just a classic pop psych album, and just there's some deep stuff on here. This is a sleeper. Everybody knows Incense and Peppermints, but there are some really good tracks on here. Rainy Day Mushroom Pillow, the opening track on side 2, is phenomenal. And Birds in My Tree, I think that was the B-side to Incense and Peppermints, is also a very good track. So really cool stuff there. Another upgrade copy. I bought a Sundays copy, a used one, for $5 at a record show once, and really wanted an original, and got this pretty decent copy. This is not mint. This is probably kind of VG all around. Mad River, self-titled on Capitol. This is a really good kind of acid psych album. Merciful Monk's Amphetamine Gazelle. Amphetamine Gazelle is less than 3 minutes long and it's fantastic. Side 2 has a couple long tracks. Just phenomenal. Really, really good record. And this was $7. So for a pretty decent copy, and my Sunday's copy that I bought wasn't like great either, but for an original $7 on Mad River, that was a heck of a find. I was really happy to have that. Find that, put it in the collection. So, and then the last one, I had a copy of this that was like a 71, 72 reissue. This is an original on the brown A&M label, and it's just gorgeous. I mean, near mint all over. Of the Flying Burrito Brothers, the Gilded Palace of Sin, Mr. Graham Parsons. Where's he at on here? This guy, Graham Parsons. There he is. I knew I'd find him. Such a great, amazing country rock album. Country rock is kind of my thing outside of psych. I don't know why. I kind of dig it. And Graham Parsons was, you know, an iconic figure of the 60s and early 70s. Was in the Byrds for about a minute. Sweetheart of the Rodeo, that era, and was just kind of a pioneer of country rock and bringing back kind of an authentic Americana country sound to country music in the 60s. So yeah, I had like a silver label A&M pressing. I sent that along to somebody's VCLT. Mr. Jerry Shimp, some of you may have remembered him. Catfisher, doesn't make videos anymore, but he's still on the Facebook group and things like that. So happy to pass that copy along to him, and for $7 to get an OG upgrade mint copy. Vintage vinyl, just an amazing store. Continues to be my favorite in St. Louis, hands down. Although Jeremy Deadwax, if you're watching, I love your store too. I'm not in St. Louis on the weekends much and don't get over to your store. So otherwise, yeah. Anyway, well, it doesn't matter. Now onto the finds that I didn't have. These are not upgrades. These are new to the collection. And this is stuff that is very similar to the stuff I still have to show from my haul in August and September at Vintage. So this is all clearly from the same kind of collection. This is Nucleus, their self-titled album on Mainstream, their only album. This one I paid $20 for, because at the time, again, it was like, oh, you never see this stuff. I didn't know they had more to put out, otherwise I may have been a little pickier. I don't know, I still probably would have bought this though. For $20, I think it's a pretty decent deal. This has a reputation of not being one of the better mainstream albums. It's a little more progressive, less psych. I don't know, it kind of gets panned by some critics. I liked it better than its reputation. I don't think it's like amazing or great, but I think there's a lot of really good things on here. And the lead guitar, there's some really cool kind of far out moments by the lead guitarist on here, a little bit fuzzy in spots. I think this is a perfectly acceptable album, and each track is a little bit longer. There's only 6 tracks on here, all 4+ minutes long each, couple long jams, and yeah, just a really, really nice clean copy. And I guess I'll show the label. I've been showing those on everything else, might as well pop that one out. So always cool to get stuff on Mainstream from that era. Alright, this is one that was pretty cool to find. I know Diana, oh my gosh, your username is escaping me right now. Digging the Crate? I'm so sorry, Diana. I remember your Instagram name, but I can't think of your YouTube name, and it may be the same thing. It doesn't matter. You guys know Diana. I think she found this recently, and it's a really cool album. It's on ABC Wool. I really like that cover. It's kind of stupid and cheesy, but it's so of the time that I really, really enjoy it. And it is a gatefold. This is a little more funky, kind of a funky psych album, especially the opening track, Love, 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 Love. It gets a little bit deep, but it's very like, there's some drum breaks and there's some funk elements, excuse me, to it. And that's kind of how the entire album is. It kind of mixes funk and psych and good jammin' rock stuff on here. So this is one I knew about, had never heard. Saw this in the bins for $20. I never saw a copy before, and I have not seen one since except online. I knew it had to come home with me, so really cool to find that one in the bins, and the label for you, just the standard ABC. So very cool stuff there. This is one I took a chance on. I knew nothing about it. This isn't even in the Endless Trip, which I don't know why. They had 2 albums. The group is Apple Pie Motherhood Band. This is Apple Pie. I believe their other album is titled Motherhood. Don't quote me on that, I'm not sure. It might just be a self-titled. Both on Atlantic Records. The cover caught my eye. And turning it over, the opening track is 7.5 minutes long. It's titled Orangutan, and there's the group there. And I will show the label because we're sticking with that trend. And I just thought, you know, it was 20 bucks. I think this may have been the only record I bought the day I found this one there. And I just was like, I'm going to take it home and see what it sounds like. This is so good. This is underrated. People don't talk about this, but this is fantastic. Orangutan, the opening track, is wonderful. It's a fantastic psych track with lots of searing guitar, some fuzz going on. It gets a little bit trippy. It's really, really good. There are some, again, kind of not super funked out tracks, but a couple things do get a little funky. They do a cover of Get Ready. They do a Chuck Berry cover, Brown Eyed Handsome Man. That's kind of a more straight ahead rock track. So it does switch genres a little bit, but there is some really, really good searing lead guitar on here. It's not quite acid rock. I don't want to say it's acidic lead guitar, but it is very like 1968 fuzzed up guitar stuff. So I'm on the lookout for their other album now, and again, I paid 20 bucks for this, kind of right on the money, but not disappointed at all by this. This is really, really good. And this find was actually, this was probably the first find I had of the big collection that they had brought in. They just had it in the random B section. Normally the stuff like this they have on the wall. It's kind of like, hey, look what we have. Or it'll be in kind of a new arrival section that they have. But they had already filed this one away in the Bs. This is the Blue Things self-titled album. Again, their only album. They're probably known more for their singles that they released after this album that are very, very psychedelic and very trippy and amazing and really hard to find. But this was their album on RCA. They're on the RCA label, and it's folk rock, and it's really, really good folk rock. There's some kind of garagey elements to it, but it's all folky, jangly, fantastic folk rock, kind of an unsung folk rock masterpiece, I would say. And this is a mint copy, and again, I don't know if it says mono on here, but you can see the catalog number down there, LPM 3603. So very cool to get a mono copy of the Blue Things debut album. Fantastic. If I can remember some tracks, they do a cover of Girl of the North Country. There are a couple covers on here, but they do have some originals as well. The kind of the most garagey track is a track called La Do Da Da. You know, kind of folk pop, folk rock, garage rock. If that's your thing, if that's your bag, and you haven't heard this album, this is definitely one to track down. I paid 17 bucks for this, and like I said, it is just mint. This is a phenomenal album. Really, really good stuff. And the last one to show in this grouping here, one I'd seen in the Endless Trip, knew about there. Derek Fisher, I believe, has a reissue of it and was really big on it. So when I saw this in the bins for 20 bucks, in the shrink wrap, I took it off, but Ivory, self-titled, I knew it was coming home with me. This is on Tetragrammaton Records, which, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Bill Cosby owned that label. You know, I don't know. Watch the new Dave Chappelle special on Netflix for a good Bill Cosby joke. There it is there on that Tetragrammaton label. The cover's kind of weird, you know, it's Ivory, and they do the same kind of shtick on the back where it's everything's right side up here, and you can turn it upside down and it's right side up again. This is fantastic. This is one of my favorite finds for vintage this year. This may even make an appearance in the top 10 of my finds of my year video. I don't know yet. It's that good. It's just so good. Imagine Jefferson Airplane, but their deepest moments, like from After Bathing at Baxter's, and that's this entire album. It's fantastic. The vocalist is Chris Christman. She's a female vocalist. I believe just a trio. They may have a couple other people playing on here that are not credited, but fantastic, really good, deep Jefferson Airplane-esque psych rock. This is straight ahead psych. This isn't pop psych or psych pop. This is psych, and it's so, so good. The opening track, Silver Rains, may be the best thing on the album, but the rest of the album maintains that similar vibe and vein to it. So that's one to check out. If you're not familiar with the album, just look up Silver Rains. If you like that track, get the album because the rest of it sounds just like it. This is fantastic. It does not come recommended enough from me. Seriously, buy this album, find it, get it. And that's it. I wanted to keep it short. I did not do that. I never do that. I always go way longer than I intend to. But if you stuck with me, thank you guys. I appreciate it. And hopefully I'll see you soon with another video. And again, record run videos hopefully coming up as well. Alright, take care. See you guys.